Welcome. Go Green. It's so, well, I could see you for a second, but now I can't see you. I can just see this front row. But wonderful to have so many Spartans taking over New York City. My name is Kim Tobin, and I am the Vice President of University Advancement. And what that really means is I get to work with many alumni and donors who support the university and give your time, talent, treasure, and testimony back to this wonderful university. So I've been a Spartan for a year, and somebody at Madison Square Garden when we were here in March said, "We feel like you've been here forever." And I thought that was the greatest compliment. So I look at my friends in the front row and new friends in the room. So thank you for that warm welcome. It's such an amazing university. The university, no question, we've had some tough times, but what I am just more and more proud every day to see what is happening at Michigan State University in terms of the caliber of our research. Our students are impressive. Just the campus is beautiful. I was walking the other night and I just pinching myself, all these beautiful trees and the Beal Garden, and it's just such a special place that you all know that. So, and we're in great hands with our Interim President Teresa Woodruff. I got to know her. I think she was one of the first people I got to know at Michigan State. She was chairing my search committee, and I was so impressed immediately with her compassion, her kindness, her intellect, her wit, all of it. She is the full package. So we are so lucky to have Teresa, who was serving as our provost, to fill in as the interim president. She hit the ground running from that minute that the announcement was made, October 31st. And has made so much effort to get to know people, to be a liaison back to the university, to share the good news about what's happening, and to lead in a way that would make you all swell with pride. We get to see it in conference rooms as hard decisions were made around post-February 13th to everything else, and inspire people about her own research and how that translates into transforming the world. We're just really, really fortunate to have her here with us tonight. So please join me in welcoming Teresa Woodruff.
Thank you so much, Kim, and I echo your remarks about how wonderful it is to be back in New York. We were here several times for events, meeting many of you in the room, also for 2 basketball games, and we will win in Madison Square Garden. And Ashton, right? So that will happen in our future. I think Ashton's I think there's some other promises you might have to talk about later tonight. This panel is just extraordinary. This is the second such event of the Wharton Series, and I think it's something that, given the enthusiasm from the earlier reception, we're going to keep continuing. And part of the reason for our gathering is that we're honoring the Wharton family. And Cliff and Dolores Wharton, as well as their son Bruce, who is here, and I want to turn over the podium to his remarks in just a moment. But we are delighted as Michigan State University to be in New York City, but also to carry the banner of the Wharton family. Such leaders at Michigan State from 1970 to 1978, where Bruce completed his elementary and middle school education, which was really important, and later on completed a master's degree at our Eli Broad School of Business and Hospitality, where he continues to be a leader in that field here in New York City. And we are just so honored to have Bruce representing the Wharton name. And one of my great quotes of your dad was at the time of the opening of the Cliff and Dolores Wharton Center for Performing Arts, the Wharton Center, as we all lovingly call it. And he was captured as saying to the assembled couple of thousands of people who came to East Lansing for that opening, that I have told you all many, many times that a university is more than bricks and mortar. And so what did you do? You named a building after me. So that wit and charm and the value proposition that the Wharton family has brought to our Spartan community is really nothing short of remarkable. And let me just offer now, Bruce, if you'd like to say a few words at the beginning of this event today. Please join me in welcoming Bruce Wharton.
Thank you very much. It's a privilege to be here. Unfortunately, my parents are not able to be here today. My mother, unfortunately, has been suffering from pneumonia. She was in the hospital for a little while. She is out. She is well. My dad also is well, but unfortunately because of their medical conditions, they weren't able to be here. But they do send their regards because this is a very important thing for them. These past few years have been a little bit difficult for my parents, these past three. In these past 3 years, they have had to move twice. In addition to having to move, they've had to downsize their apartment, as I'm sure you can well imagine. When you're married as long as my parents have been married, which is 73, 74 years, you do tend to accumulate quite a bit of things. But such is life, and they weren't able to be here. Speaking of my parents and being in the hospital, because of things like that, they did have to move into an assisted living facility, and that's one reason why they had to move again. When they did take a look at their life, they did have to realize that there are going to be times in which they're going to have to do something with all of the different items they do have and they've accumulated, the artwork, the furniture, and things of that sort. So they did make plans to handle the different items they had, especially the artwork. As some of you might be aware, when my mother was First Lady, she did turn the official residence of Coles House into a bit of an art gallery in which she would rotate the art by the professors there at Michigan State to promote the arts there at the school. There was one particular artist that they've had for quite a few years there in Coles House. You might be familiar with a person who's called Irving Tarrin, Professor Irving Tarrin there in the Department of Arts at Michigan State. He was one of the first artists that we had displayed there in Coles House, and ever since then they have been showing his work, including taking and buying things for their own personal use. And throughout the years, we have stayed in contact with the Tarrins and become family friends, along with many other people that are there from Michigan. With regards to Tarrins, though, it was an artwork that they really do love from Michigan State, and they've collected quite a bit of artwork from them. But with all of the moving and such, they realized that there was going to have to be something done with all of this artwork. So they did make plans with some of these things. There were two very large canvases there in my parents' apartment in New York City from Irving Tarrin, but unfortunately because of their size, they weren't able to take it with them to their new assisted living facility. They, of course, realized that there were going to be other items that they had to deal with, so they did make plans of what was going to happen with a lot of the artwork. With regards to these two pieces, though, they did make plans for them, when the time came, to have them be given to Michigan State University. So because of the fact that they had to move, I can tell you now that the package or the artwork has been packed up, and at the very least they're on their way to Michigan State, if not already arrived at Michigan State. So I'm very hopeful that you will appreciate and like the artwork as much as my parents have, because they really did cherish the work that was done by Irving Tarrin, Professor Irving Tarrin at Michigan State. There are quite a few items, of course, like I said, that my parents have collected over the years. And when you do move and when you downsize, you get a pretty good idea as to what you value and what you cherish and what is important to you. And when you're at that age, my dad is 96, my mom is 95. So in all those years, they've got quite a few things that they do cherish and that they've collected throughout their life. There are a couple of things, though, that they really have cherished for a long time. And those are some family pictures that predominantly show me and my brother. These pictures, the family pictures, were taken back when we lived in California. My parents had just moved back to the United States from living in Singapore and Malaysia. And my dad was doing his sabbatical at some university in Palo Alto. I don't know. They're not as good as Michigan State, so we don't have to worry about them. So they had these pictures taken of the family. And as a wannabe amateur photographer, I have to admit that they really are some very nice pictures of me and my brother. And my parents have always cherished these pictures and have great value for them. So every place that we've lived, they've always taken these pictures and displayed them prominently wherever they lived. When it came time, though, for them to sell their house, they had a house in Cooperstown where those pictures were displayed. And as I said, when they moved, they had to make a decision into what were they going to keep, and what were they going to give away, what were they going to sell, so on and so forth. So the paintings, of course, from Terran, they could not come to the assisted living facility. It's New York City. They're here in Manhattan. Places in New York City are rather small, so they only had so much room for space for all the different items they had. The Terrans couldn't make it. But the pictures of me and my brother and the family, they definitely had to go with us from Cooperstown to their apartment here in New York City. But their apartment here in New York City is already fully furnished. So, what do you do if you've got a home in New York City that's fully furnished, and you've got your huge house in Cooperstown, New York, that's also fully furnished, and you're cutting back and deciding what to bring and what to take? Those pictures, of course, they had to go. They had to leave Cooperstown. They were prominently displayed in Cooperstown, a very, very special place, and you could tell that they considered these pictures of value and of love. So they had to move to New York City, and like I said, the apartment in New York City is fully furnished. So what happened? What happened is that my mother rearranged one entire room, and gave me and my brother our own special wall with these pictures. So we had pictures of me and my brother and family, and we had the Terrans, so we were very happy. But unfortunately, that didn't last too long, and they had to sell their apartment here in the city and move into assisted living. So that really was a crunch, where they really had to think long and hard about what they were going to keep. It had to be something of value, something they really loved. The pictures, of course, they had to go. They had to come with us. So we have my parents have a nice little wall with pictures of me and my brother and the family that my parents definitely cherish. But here's the thing, there's another set of pictures on the wall as well, 3 or 4 pictures. Those pictures are not of when my dad was Chancellor of the State University of York, and it wasn't when my dad was Chief Executive Officer and Chairman of the Board of TIA-CREF. It wasn't pictures of my mother on her various Fortune 500 corporate director boardships that she was on, like Kellogg's Corporation, or my dad with the Ford Motor Company. It wasn't pictures of my dad when he was Deputy Secretary of State for the United States of America. No, the other pictures that are up there, it's a picture of my parents in front of the Wharton Center. You're up there with me and my brother, right? And sometimes I think that you're taking up more space than me and my brother. So anyway, go green!
Thank you so much, Bruce. You and your family inhabit a very special place, and we are so appreciative of you being here tonight and being part of this ongoing series. It is also my pleasure tonight to announce that another piece of art is coming back to Cole's house, which is a portrait of your mother, which was painted in 1962, and it was collected by Cornell, and so when I met with the Whartons and Bruce earlier this year, I had one question for Dolores and for Bruce, and that was, where was the painting of Dolores? It was at Cornell, and I asked, could I acquire it? And the answer from the family was yes, so that will be coming back to Cole's house, and there will be a formal event. I'll need to get a picture of you to hang next to it, Bruce, so I'm gonna need one of those family portraits, so that will be really good. But I think what we see from the comments of Bruce, and certainly from the convivial conversations earlier tonight, is that, we as Spartans are a family, and we're far-flung, and it is that we bring our warm academic arms around each other and we don't let go. And that is really why we continue to have this extraordinary experience of Michigan State University with 550,000 alumni. And this year we will be welcoming 9,800 new students to campus. And it really does represent a very, very special place, a special kind of education, and a special opportunity. So I'm glad we could be here today. Some of you asked if I would speak a little bit about what it's been like on campus this year, and it has been a time, and you'll hear a little bit from our speakers in just a moment, about what we've experienced this semester. And I think for many of us, it really has been all of us. And we've all experienced the trials and travails and the violence that happened at Michigan State. And the first thing I wanted to bring to you is just how extraordinary the senior leadership of the university is. And in particular, I want to point out Kim Tobin as well as Phil Zecker, who's here with us, our chief investment officers, two of the senior executive leaders with whom I have been just honored to partner. And this senior leadership team is one that all of you can be extraordinarily proud of, because we have linked arms in ways that have enabled us to move forward. And I just want to thank Phil and Kim as exemplars of the excellence of Michigan State. So thank you both for being here tonight as well. To the students this year at various events, and particularly at graduation, I shared three things with them, and I thought in answer to the question about how we're doing at Michigan State, I thought I'd share these three things with you. The first of which is a statement of Marie Curie that I quite like, that says, "The way of progress is neither swift nor easy." The way of progress is neither swift nor easy. And Michigan State University, over its history, from its founding in 1855, which it itself was fraught, has always made progress, but not quite at the pace perhaps sometimes we've wanted, and maybe not, it's been a little bit rocky at different times. But there has always been progress. And even in this last year, what we have seen is, despite changes in leadership that can seem abrupt, despite, in fact, even the extraordinary level of violence that we've had to withstand, despite the COVID context for this graduating class of students, there has still been extraordinary progress at Michigan State University. I'm happy to report that, in fact, the upward trajectory at the university is extraordinary. So we will be matriculating this fall the largest class in Michigan State's history. Over 9,800 students have deposited as of last week for the fall class. That says something very special about Michigan State. It says that students and families, parents, want the kind of education, want the kind of environment that Michigan State University offers. And that's really a powerful, powerful statement. We also will report 82.5% graduation rate. That is 11% higher than U.S. News and World Report says we should be graduating. So we are outdistancing all the expectations that others have of ourselves. But we actually are not settling for that extraordinary 82.5%. We actually are focused on 86% graduation rate, of closing all the gaps for every student so that everyone can persist and continue to advance to their degree. And that's a really important metric, a measure of our success. And the third thing that has been continuous over this time at Michigan State from our founding, where we said that we wanted to teach scientific agriculture in 1855, a concept that no other university had ever contemplated. We've continued to do that scholarly work together with teaching in an interoperable way that has led to nearly $750 million in research dollars this year. Rise that no other university has seen in just this last year. And we're so excited about that, but in fact, that's not where we're happy to stay. We are planning to get to $1 billion in research output by the end of the year, by the end of this decade. Those are three metrics of real success. Those are real progress. And sometimes, even though there are things that maybe become hurdles in our way, we continue to make progress. So the way of progress is neither swift nor easy, but in the end, as we look back, we can see progress happening at Michigan State University. The second thing I said to our graduating seniors this year, as I was giving them the charge, is I said to them, we were able to prepare you for what we expected. We prepared you in the way of looking at the back of the book and understanding what that found knowledge was that existed, that you should know in each of your disciplines. But what we also prepared you for, not only by what you learned in the classroom, but the experiences you had, is the unexpected. And you, Spartan class of 2023, are ready for the expected and the unexpected. And that is going to set you apart. And I told this class that their buckets have been heavy. There's been much that they've had to carry from 2019 until today. And I wish I could have taken that bucket from them, but I couldn't. And so because of the way they've been taught to be ready for the expected and the unexpected, they can carry that bucket, but they're not carrying it alone. We as Spartan Nation have our hands with them, and we are carrying it with them. And because of that, they are ready for a world that we can't predict all of what they will face. But because of these Spartans who graduated, they are ready for the world as they find it. And that leads to the third thing I said to this graduating class. And I told them, in my charge to them, that a different world cannot be made by indifferent people. And I said, class of 2023, you are not indifferent. You are not indifferent. So go out and make a difference in this world that you find yourself graduating into. I didn't share with them that as soon as they graduate, they're going to go out into a world not as warm, perhaps, as Michigan State. But I did tell them that they would be able to find their place, to find the other Spartans, to stay together, and to continue to make a difference in the world around them. So I bring you this word from Michigan State, that we are resilient, we have a great leadership team, we have great students who are persisting and are doing great things, that there is great progress at Michigan State despite some of the hurdles that have been in our way. And that we have students that are ready for the world as they find it because of the way they've been educated and the lives they've led. And they are ready to make a difference. And I am confident that they will make a difference. And I'm so delighted tonight to welcome all of you to this event where we can come and gather and hear from 3 individuals who are making a difference. And so for this second annual Wharton Series, I'm delighted to introduce to you the moderator for tonight's event, Sharon Stone. Sharon Stone. Oh, that's hilarious. Does it really? You know, one time I was provost, as some of you may or may not know. I introduced Sam Stanley as Samuel L. Jackson. I don't know why, and he just owned it. I did too, so we just went for it. So Robin Stone, a good friend of mine and all of us, is going to be the moderator for this evening. And I think many of you know her, but for those who don't, she earned her degree in journalism from our School of Communication, Arts and Sciences, and received from the university the Outstanding Alumni Award in 2004. She is a noted author and journalist and an editor who's worked for a large number of newspapers and magazines, and is also a mental health counselor, which has been critical to some of the writings that she has done. She has a master's degree in counseling for mental health and wellness from NYU in 2017, and is now the founder and clinical director of Muse and Grace Mental Health Counseling here in Midtown Manhattan. She also serves, which is where I first got to know Robin, as part of the MSU New York City Women in Philanthropy Steering Committee. And I'm delighted that she's here this evening to introduce you to 3 phenomenal people. And Robin, I can't be more delighted to introduce you to our group tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Woodruff. And good evening. You can call me Sharon, or you can call me Robin. I'm delighted to be here, and just a little story about my beginnings at Michigan State. I was accepted in 1982 to 2 universities in Michigan. I bet you wonder what the other one was. Michigan State had, and I believe still has, the only accredited journalism program in the state, so that's where I went. And I spent a lot of time hanging out on the 3rd floor of the ComArt Side building, looking on the bulletin board pre-internet for job opportunities, and hanging out and talking to the professors on their coffee breaks. And they would always ask, where are you interning? It was never, are you going to get an internship? It was assumed that in that profession, in journalism, I was getting an internship. And those questions led me to assume I was going to get an internship and led me to apply sophomore year at the Lansing State Journal, led me to apply at the Oakland Press in Pontiac, Michigan, led me to apply at the Free Press in Detroit, the Boston Globe, the New York Times. And Michigan State, in that way, that assumption that you're going to get that experience hands-on, nobody's ever asked me what was my GPA. They asked me for my clips. So I was always prepared at every step of the way. And so I really appreciate that about Michigan State. I'm going to introduce, and also with my new hat as a mental health counselor, I'm glad we're talking this evening about student wellness, right? And how student wellness relates to student success. And so I'm so delighted and honored to be able to welcome our panel this evening. And so let's get started. As I introduce each of you, please come up. I'll start with Judith Whipple, Dean Whipple, the Interim Dean of the Broad College of Business, and the Bowersox-Thull Endowed Professor of Logistics and Supply Chain Management. She's a proud Spartan alumna, having received her PhD from the Broad College of Business in 1994. As an award-winning scholar, teacher, Interim Dean Whipple has been a faculty member at MSU since 1998 and with the Broad College since 2006. She is a recipient of the MSU Teacher Scholar Award and currently serves on the board of directors of the Institute for Supply Management. Welcome. Thank you. Next, joining us is Ashton Henderson, who is Deputy Athletics Director of Championship Resources. Ashton, a 4-year letter winner for Spartan football, many of you may know this, 2006 to 2009, oversees student-facing areas associated with health, mental and physical wellness, and student-athlete engagement. He is a 2-time graduate of MSU, receiving his BA in 2010 and MA in 2012 from the College of ComArt Sci. Before his current role at MSU, Ashton served as Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion with the Detroit Pistons. Welcome, Ashton. Next, we have Yatin Sareen. My papers, I got it, thank you. There we go. Yatin is a Financial Markets Institute scholar who graduated this year from the Eli Broad College of Business with a BA in Finance. He's an incoming investment banking analyst at JP Morgan Chase here in New York City. Welcome. Everybody can be seated. So we're going to get started, and my first question, and we're going to have a conversation, so I'm going to throw out a question, and please feel free to jump in if appropriate. So for Ashton, we'll start with you. You have talked about the importance of a holistic approach to the mental and physical wellness of student athletes. Can you describe how Championship Resources supports mental health, physical health, and student-athlete engagement?
Absolutely, Robin. Well, first of all, thank you for having us and hosting us. New York, you have been nothing short of amazing, so thank you for that. As you alluded to, what is Championship Resources? So I'll tell you all, Championship Resources, when you think about it, typically has an external facing lean of raising money or any intent of that excellence, but we were intentional about how we leaned into Championship Resources. My boss, Alan Haller, and I, when this opportunity came, was just a full circle moment for me. I'm a Floridian, so never thought Michigan would be my home. There have been some treacherous winters, but they build character. And here I am today with a East Lansing zip code, so it must have meant well for me and my fiance. So with that being said, Championship Resources, I have the ability to oversee and champion 9 of our student health and wellness, safety, and engagement areas, which is no easy task, but something that I come to work every day knowing that I'm providing the best and first-class experience for our student athletes. So 9 units following under the auspices of my direction, as well as 12 direct reports. But the most important, as Robin alluded to, is really mental health and the health and well-being of our student athletes. When I was a student athlete, mental health was taboo. You didn't talk about it. You didn't embrace it. You didn't have the opportunity to really lean into those aspects of things that I was going through as a student athlete in the walls of the athletics facility, in my classes over in Comart and Science. I didn't know I was depressed. I didn't know I was anxious about things, but I was. And there was not a resource there for me to lean into outside of CAPS and other resources on campus. Due to the overarching strategic plan, particularly in our MSU 2030 strategic plan, there has been a huge emphasis on mental health and wellness and student-athlete well-being. And I'm so grateful. Here in the LaGuardia Airport, I made an offer for another mental health clinician and counselor. I wouldn't advise that. It was pretty loud, a lot of horns, but they said yes. So with the new holistic student-athlete, yes, you may applaud, yes. But with that being said, in the new holistic development model within the NCAA, each school has to be above a threshold of how many mental health counselors, physicians, barely practitioners that have to be leading that work, which I'm so profoundly proud of, and continue to help provide those resources to our student athletes. So Michigan State has been a leader in that area for over 40 years in sports psychiatry and things before me and others. But now to have the aspects of working in conjunction with campus and other aspects of what we're doing in wellness, where we created an initiative called the Student Athlete Wellness Fair, where Coach Izzo got into the dunk tank this year, and some students dunked him a lot of times. So it was really cool to embrace that and see the students and destigmatize that in a different way. I've partnered with colleagues like Dr. Alexis Travis and many others who are really committed to this. So that's more the mental health side. And on the athletic side, within our ecosystem, you talked about how do we provide those resources in Championship Way. It's about how do we prepare our students for those next steps in their lives beyond, because Michigan State University is a truly special place, and I'm an ambassador, and we want to help our students be the best versions of themselves and leave this place and always know that they can come home. And that's something which I'm in the business of cultivating and curating that experience for our student athletes and students alike. So I'm very thrilled to do it.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Ashton. And just to follow up, can you talk about why is it important to have, I mean, yeah, you're, telling us why you get your job, right? But why is it important to have roles like yours at a big public university?
Yeah, Michigan State is a huge place. I remember I thought I went to a big high school in Florida. Then I walked to Michigan State's campus, and I said, whoa, I was just a culture shock for me. But positions like mine make the university really small. And the reason I say that is because we have over 700 student athletes that we serve, but it's incumbent upon me and myself and our team and everyone alike that we really get to know them on an intimate level. And really, it starts in the recruitment process and those aspects of how we lean into their experience. So I've been very fortunate for me in seeing this role of Championship Resources become more prevalent across the scope of our athletics ecosystem, as well as the infrastructure and things that have been put in place abroad. So one of my greatest achievements in seeing that is I serve as the immediate past president of N4A, which is the National Association for Academic and Student Athlete Development Professionals. Say that 10 times fast if you choose. But in that role, it's about uplifting the student athlete experience. So I am committed. I'm doing this on a national level, and bringing those policies and procedures on campus and being an ambassador. I'm rolling off this year. Thank you, Lord. It's been a lot of work, but it's been amazing, and that's something that Michigan State has been at the forefront of that work, not only in student-athlete development, mental health, and other of these aspects, but just being a vessel for the university and pouring the knowledge that I've received on a national and global level back to where we are here on a macro level and micro level to make sure our students have what they need.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Man, y'all are so kind.
Yatin, I understand the Financial Markets Institute in the Broad College of Business was one of the major reasons you chose MSU. Why did this make a difference in your decision? And could you describe your experience at the FMI?
Yeah, so thank you guys for having me here today. It's kind of unreal, graduating 2 weeks ago and then coming here and talking about the university. Going back to, senior year of high school, when I was debating, what college to go to and kind of what to do in college, I knew I wanted two things towards the end of my college experience. First of all, I wanted to pursue finance. And that was because my parents had a small business in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and they were never afraid to show me and my brother the inner workings of the business and kind of raise us with an entrepreneurial mindset. And that's what I kind of wanted to emulate with my career, and that's where I decided to pursue a finance degree. Another thing I wanted to do was end up in New York City. My main goal for ending up in New York City is because originally I'm from Queens. I'm born in Queens, New York, and I have a ton of family in New York City. I grew up with the city, and I love the diversity, the culture, the people, and most honestly, the food of the city. So I wanted to end up in the city. And when I was looking for colleges, those are the two things I wanted, finance and New York. And when I was researching Michigan State, I realized they had this program called the Financial Markets Institute, which was designed to help high-achieving finance students land a job in the financial services industry, such as investment banking, private equity, and venture capital. And they had a specialized focus in getting people into cities such as Chicago and New York. So, realizing that Michigan State had this specific program designed to help me achieve my goals really helped me cement my choice in going to Michigan State as a student in high school. So then coming to Michigan State, the experiences I had with FMI, my experiences lasted all throughout my 4 years. When I came to Michigan State as a freshman, I networked with a ton of upperclassmen FMI scholars, and they helped me along my path. They set up mock interviews for me. They helped me decide what career I wanted to go into, and they helped me determine, what I needed to prepare for to get into the FMI my sophomore year, but also to be successful in interviews and what to look forward to get internships. Then in sophomore year, when I applied for FMI and was thankfully accepted, the program has a sophomore boot camp, a 6-week semester boot camp, which helps students learn about behavioral skills in finance, technical skills required for interviews, and also soft skills in like how to network, how to cold call, and how to cold email people, just so you land an internship. Going through the boot camp and successfully landing an internship sophomore year and then junior year, I continued to stay in touch with the FMI program, even though the boot camp was over and the application process was over. As a junior and senior, I helped and gave back by helping with the boot camp program, but also helped sophomores and freshmen with the same problems that I had as a freshman and sophomore. Set up mock interviews with them, set up calls with them to discuss, what do you want to do, what career are you looking into, and also help them with, whatever they wanted. And that is a big pillar of FMI, which is giving back as a junior and senior. FMI is an endowed program, and our faculty director, Dave Hawthorne, does have an endowed position at this university. And that is made aware to us as FMI scholars from day one. In an FMI interview, we're asked, we know that what FMI can help you with, but what can you help FMI with? How are you going to ensure that the resources that are provided to you continue on for future students at this university? So at FMI, a big pillar is to give back, help freshmen and sophomores out with any problems they may have, tell them about the program, provide information, but also be there as a resource, be there as like a kind of a senior student at the university to help them with whatever they may need. And that's what the program has helped me with.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Yatin. For Dean Whipple, The Financial Markets Institute was funded through philanthropy. Alumni are very involved in the program, as are students, right? And the director, David Hawthorne's position is endowed. Can you talk about the alumni support for the FMI?
Sure, great, happy to, and happy to be here tonight with all of you. Thank you for being with us. So the Financial Markets Institute, or FMI, has been a great example of successful partnership with our alumni. It actually started, the idea was percolated by 3 students who were interested in a career in the financial market sector. So investment banking, private equity, venture capital. And so they talked with some alumni as well as some of our faculty, including Helen Dashney, and they really created the institute. And the objective is, like Yatin, to help provide opportunities for jobs in the financial services and financial market sector. And so this endowment became very important. The alumni started and continue to support the endowment. It supports Dave Hawthorne's position as the director, but it also supports a lot of student activities for co-curricular opportunities. One of the biggest parts of that is it supports 3 annual treks, one here to New York City, one to Chicago, and one to Detroit. And that's been a great additional way that we've partnered with alumni. Alumni here in New York host our students at their companies. Various companies participate in that. It's a great way for students to not only network, but also to think about the different career opportunities that they might have, and to think about those locations as very attractive locations. And so it also supports other engagement activities, financial case competitions, scholarships, other support for our students. But the treks are really, really critical. If you think about, in many cases, this might be the first time the student has left Michigan. It might be the first time they've gotten on a plane. It might be the first time they've stepped into a corporate headquarters. And so it not only offers them ideas about their careers, but it offers them inspiration about where they might see themselves. And so when they get a chance to meet an alumni and say, oh, I was from Grand Rapids also, I can now see myself in Manhattan. Yeah. And that's just a very powerful opportunity.
Sure, thank you. Thank you for that. Yatin, how did your MSU community help you overcome a challenge that you faced at MSU?
Yeah, so to talk about, a challenge that we all faced is to, look back at this semester and to think back about what happened in February. So in February, we all know an unthinkable act of violence happened on our campus at Michigan State. And at that time, I was at Broad College, at a club meeting and kind of going through my day-to-day activities when that took place. And at the beginning, it was a shock. Many of my fellow students at the meeting didn't even believe what was happening for the first 10 to 15 minutes. And it took a little bit to actually set in what was actually happening on our campus. Within hours, a place that many people call their home, many people have lived at for years, became a place where people were even afraid to look out the window for a little bit. So it was a hard time. But throughout that whole experience, one unwavering aspect was the support that I received and fellow students received from other students, from the Spartan community, from faculty, staff, and also people all over the world. I can still think back, people were texting me, other students were texting me, people that I haven't talked to from freshman year, maybe someone I had a class with during freshman year, and we have not spoken since then. They texted me to make sure I was okay. They texted me to make sure my friends were okay. And throughout the week that was happening, I was receiving emails and phone calls from people, from Spartan alumni, from the Spartan community all over Michigan, but also all over the world. And just having that with you and having that support you was one aspect where the Spartan community came together and helped me through that challenge. Another aspect was the events hosted at the university to kind of welcome us back on campus, because I know a lot of students took time off and kind of couldn't view the campus the same way they had before. They needed time, We had events like the Vigil, the Spartan Sunday, and also our FMI Spartan Strong pizza event, which are really the main goal of those events, were to, help students get back in touch with each other and enhance the bonds that may have been lost during, February. And a lot of these events really helped me and a lot of other students out because, to be honest, we had lost a sense of safety on campus. But having those events, having administration and other students support us, having, people there during the Spartan Sunday event, there were moms from East Lansing all over giving all the students hugs, and having that with us really helped me feel like, we can, the sense of safety can return to campus, and, that the environment of Michigan State is not gone. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, if I could just jump in on that a little bit as well. I think one of the things that is that we've done across campus, but I'll talk a little bit about in the Broad College specifically, is really trying to build a sense of community for students as soon as they arrive. And so we have a residential business community, or RBC. That's a living, learning, leading community where students who participate in that as freshmen and sophomores, they all live together in the same dorm in McDonald Hall, and they really start from day one building a community with other students who are interested in business. They take classes together. There are tutoring opportunities. The classes also focus on career exploration. We have alumni come and visit that, and it really helps to make a 50,000 student university feel like a neighborhood and a community.
Absolutely.
And so it's not just in our college, but other colleges are setting up similar learning communities. It just gives students a chance to really make those connections from day one and build their network. And in particular, we know from research that first generation students, women and underrepresented populations, if they don't feel connected in that first or second semester, we don't retain them. And so this has been a great way to not only build that sense of community for everyone early, it's been a great way to retain a diverse student population on campus.
Sure. That's a really important point to speak to community and community building. And Ashton, can you talk a bit about the MSU athletics and how that uniquely prepares students for post-graduation?
Yeah, being a student athlete is something that I swell with pride in, and the student athlete experience teaches you so many invaluable lessons that carry you on to reach the trajectories in which you were brought to do. I remember vividly A390375571. That's my student ID. And the reason I remember that, because there's nothing like feeling like a Spartan and representing this institution at every level, in every space, in every place you can. And it was very impactful for me because I didn't realize how magnificent, how immaculate, how gregarious it is and see Spartans across the country. And it's something that once I found that out and learned the fight song finally, which I know by word, so we'll test some of you later on this evening on that, and those paradiddles to my friend Merritt. We'll talk about that later as well. But with that being said, being a student athlete, that time and that window and that hourglass will pass. And it's the fastest time of your life. I remember every play, every moment, every spectacular game we had in Spartan Stadium. But my goal and what I do and what I preach to our student athletes is they are more than an athlete. And it's so impeccable, it's so incredible to see that they're so extremely talented in so many other facets that we don't really get a chance to know, but now we do. And do that in a very intentional way with really the career development and the services and the opportunities that they're exposed to early and often in their experience. So one of the things that I'll speak to is I'm truly thankful. Just this past week, we took about 25 of our juniors and seniors to Detroit for what we have marketed and branded called the EXP Tour. So EXP stands for Experience, Exposure, and Expansion. So what we did was take those student athletes to about 14 Spartan-owned companies and ran businesses, and every meal we had, every place we went, everywhere we networked was all Spartan-driven. And it was incredible to see the repository and them to envision them being on that tour one day and leading that themselves. So this has led us to an awesome opportunity to kind of continue to build off of. Next year, we'll be in Chicago. In 2025, as Frank Sinatra says himself, New York. We're coming to New York to bring that tour here, to really have the ability to see things, get exposed. But the student-athlete experience helped me see the world differently. It helped provide the tenacity, the grit, the wherewithal, how I show up every day is very embedded in the things that I learned from my student-athlete experience. And how I immersed myself in campus with other students was so critical to my growth and development. And I wish I had done that earlier. And that's something that I help really with our students to help them understand the impacts of not getting lost in their own world, but really getting out and really spreading their wings. And one of the things that Dean Whipple has done an amazing and extraordinary job is opening the doors of the Broad College of Business for our student athletes who have ideas, who want to do more, and we're working through them through business teams, which has been an amazing experience where 4 of our student athletes are getting ready to launch their own businesses with students that help them understand how to put a business plan together, how to come up with sustainable metrics, things that they can see. And it's been nothing short of amazing to watch this all unfold, and it all started with an idea, and Dean Whipple opened the doors immediately and was a yes that I'm excited to continue to build on that partnership and really prepare our students for the road ahead, which the unexpected journey is real, and it's the world that we have it in our ecosystem is different at Michigan State, but they're prepared when they leave, and that's something that our coaches, our athletics director, and everyone is in alignment to ensure that they leave not only to get a chance to play professionally, but in sport, in life, in anything they do, they're going to be successful.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Ashton. And we have time for a couple more questions. So I'm going to pose this to Dean Whipple, just speaking of collaborations and making connections. How are you partnering with industries here in New York and connecting students with potential employers here in this region?
Great, thank you. So certainly FMI is one of our key inroads to bringing students to New York and to partnering with local companies through the trek that I mentioned, the FMI trek. And that, again, gives students an opportunity to meet with companies, to meet with alumni, to start thinking about internship opportunities, full-time opportunities, full-time job opportunities, and Yatin is a great example of that. And so that's been a great way that we've partnered with alumni in the area. And so many companies have participated in hosting those tours and having the alumni be mentors to our FMI students. There's so many companies, just to name a few, Citi, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, Wells Fargo, just so many different opportunities. I wish I could name all the companies. And so that's been one great way we've partnered. We also have our Russell Palmer Career Management Center in the Broad College, and that not only helps support our students with networking, with resume building, interview preparation, but they also work with companies who want to build a presence on campus. And so they will help companies customize what type of a recruiting experience and development experience they want to have on campus. And so that has opened up the doors to lots of other companies, lots of other majors. We have a lot of CPG, pharmaceutical, and consulting opportunities for our students in the area: L'Oreal, PepsiCo, J&J, Merck, PwC, Ernst & Young. All of those are companies that are part of our opportunities for our students to work on internships and full-time jobs. And actually, New York City is the 4th most popular destination for our undergraduate graduates, and East Coast is the 2nd most popular destination for our MBA students. And so students are excited to be here. The alumni here, the alumni network is great, and the support that the local companies and regional companies have provided our students is amazing.
Great, thank you. Thank you. And finally, for everybody, really quickly, as you look to the future for MSU, what are you most excited about?
Most recent grad.
MSU and beyond.
I'm excited about a ton of things about MSU. You know, I'm excited to stay involved on a different stage now. I was involved as a student, but now I'm excited to stay involved as an alumni. Kind of, you know, give back what was given to me, talk with, you know, prospective students, talk with people looking for, you know, internship opportunities, full-time offers, how I can help them get into New York City and achieve what they want to achieve as, you know, students. The Spartan community helped me as a student. You know, there was a ton of people that were willing to hop on a phone call, tell me about how to achieve my dreams, how to make myself successful, and I want to do the same for students in the future as well. So that's what I'm excited for.
I'm forever indebted to Michigan State University and in perpetuity in life and in everything that I do, just because of how special it was for me to remain and everything. So what I'm excited about, we have a lot of championships to win, okay? We got a lot of championships to win that we left on the table. And like most things, our women's sports are continuing to show our men how to do things. They are they're doing some amazing things. But there's a lot of excitement around what we're building, and there's a culture, there's an energy, there's a synergy, and there's things that this institution is building, not only just in a silo, but together. And that's why Michigan State is so special, because of the cross-pollination. What I'm excited about is all the great things that lie ahead of us because of these moments such as this and being around all of you who energize in what we do to bring the vision back to campus that President Woodruff has laid out so eloquently well for all of us, rowing the same way, going the same energy, one band, one sound. It's going to be an awesome fall.
So President Woodruff mentioned our recent commencement ceremonies, and graduation is always one of my favorite times of the year because it's really the culmination. It reflects the culmination of one of our greatest contributions, and that is sending off our future leaders who are going to go out and make a difference in the world and the communities around them. And so whenever I go through graduation ceremonies, I also think about my own Spartan journey. And when I started in the PhD program, I had a chance to take a class from Don Bowersox, who, if you're familiar with supply chain, he's one of the world-renowned experts and really one of the key influencers that helped us create the #1 supply chain management program in the country. And so I was taking a class from him, and he said, I wasn't majoring in, at the time, logistics, marketing and logistics, and he said, you need to change your major, and you need to come and work for me. So after the semester, I went to see him. I said, well, I've been thinking about what you said, and sort of sheepishly wondering if he'd still be willing for me to work on his team. And he said, I'll be back in 5 minutes. So he comes back, and he says, well, it's all set. You're now a marketing and logistics student. You're on an assistantship with me. You start tomorrow. Sign the paperwork on the way. Welcome to the team. And what I always think about with Don was he saw things in people that they didn't see in themselves. And my ability to work for him was transformational in my life. And to hold the Bowersox Thal Endowed Professor position, knowing it's named in my mentor, my colleague, and my friend, has just been another one of those transformational experiences. And so what I'm always excited about and hopeful for is continuing on that journey where we are transforming lives. When I see the smiles of the students at graduation, when I meet with alumni, I hear about, and when we think about the moments that mattered to students while they're on campus, it's why all of you are here. It's because you were transformed by MSU. You were transformed by those moments that matter, that created your personal and professional trajectory. And we know that we will continue to build Spartans and that will lead, that will stay Spartan strong, that will use their Spartan will to do great things in their communities and for the world. And so I'm always excited about knowing that we're helping pay that forward. And you hear that inconsistent across all three of our themes, is that we're making a difference and will continue to make a difference for our students.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you to our panelists. Thank you all for participating and sharing your wisdom and passion for MSU. Thank you all for listening. President Woodruff, back to you. Go green. Go white.
And Dean Whipple and Robin, thank you so much for leading us through all this dialogue. This has been really terrific. And thank you to everyone for participating this evening. This has really been a dynamic discussion. I want to just close by thanking again the Wharton family for lending your name and expertise to this series. And this is number 2 of many. And so again, thank you to the Wharton family. I also want to recognize some of the members of the development team, and Kim mentioned some of them, but Rachel Carl, Kim Kittleman, Deanna Gast, and I know there are others, Jill and Maria, and many others that I'm forgetting, but please join me in thanking them for making this a wonderful evening. I want to make sure that we continue to connect and network, and one of the things that Dean Whipple said is something that she is known for and coined, and it is moments that matter. And when I'm with her in various events, we have sat with students and asked the students, what are those moments that matter? And so I hope for everyone in this room, you stay connected, and just maybe as a prompt, or I don't know, do I get a presidential charge at the end of something like this? Make sure that you think about those Spartan moments that matter and share those with 1 or 2 other people that you meet tonight. And I think there will be good things that come from those moments that matter, good connections, ways that inspire others in ways that you may not know. But those Spartan moments that matter are really critical to this community, and I hope you share those with 1 or 2 people. So as you depart tonight, we wanted to leave you with a little bit of a gift, and that is the gift of East Lansing's beautiful MSU campus. And so we brought with us a very video of MSU, and we want to leave that with you. You can hum the fight song, the alma mater, whatever you want. Ashton can sing all the words. I'm very proud of you, my friend. That is very good to know. But we do appreciate and thank every single one of you for your Spartan spirit, for the way you have buoyed all of us and uplifted us all. We've felt your spirit in East Lansing over this last year, and we want to continue to be part of these spirals of excellence that lift us all upward. And as the Spartans rise, it raises those around us. So thank you again for being part of this evening, and as we depart, we can roll the video of our beautiful campus in East Lansing. Thank you.